What is good, everybody? Hope everybody is doing well. Last few emails I got from professional emails, I should say, is that they hope that this email finds me well. So I hope this video finds you well, if it can find you at all. So I hope everybody's doing well, doing good, doing their thing, making moves, making things happen, all that. If you have a question or comment, make sure that you hit me up in the email. If you have a question, you want me to tackle a subject. So this subject right here I'm going to tackle right now is one that I received a question about. So listen, I don't profess to be a dating coach, a guru, or anything like that, but people are asking my humble opinion, and I'm humbly going to give it to them. So this question is about, just like navigating this scene. Essentially, it's about navigating this love space scene, looking for love, looking for things. And you have standards, right? This is for the woman who has standards. This is for the woman who is doing things, making moves. Well, let me not even put it like that, but this is for the woman who's got standards. She is not with the sleeping around. If you're not with the sleeping around, you're not with the 304 culture, not with the hookup culture. You don't believe in the... There's a lot of traffic out here today. Having a 12 to 5 guy, friends with benefits. If you don't know what a 12 to 5 guy is, that's a guy who's in by midnight and out by 5 a.m. because you don't want your neighbors or your kids to see him because you're embarrassed of him. More than likely, he's of the Pookie, Ray type-ish. So if that's your MO, that's how you get down. You just can't control your flesh. Just can't control your carnal urges. You just got to get it done, and this guy's doing it for you. But you wouldn't bring him to a company picnic, or you wouldn't bring him to your, to a family game night, and introduce him to your mom or dad. That kind of guy. So if you're not with all that, right, this video, how do you navigate this world in all that? Listen, I'm not a guru or anything like that, but I'm just going to give you my humble opinion. I think you got to hold your ground. And number one, you will never ever be satisfied if you give in to what everybody else is doing. Everybody else around you is sleeping around. They got friends with benefits. They got the guy who scratches their itch from time to time, or they got a guy who's paying their bills from doing this, that. And if you think that that's the way to go, you think that's the way to get down, you think that's the way to go about your business and move, I don't think you'll ever really be happy with that. I think that you'll compromise your values. You'll look in the mirror every day and be like, who is this person? What have I become? I've let myself down. I've let my family down. I've done this. You feel terrible because you've compromised your morals, your values, and your ethics. And what does all that grant you? What is all that grant you? And listen, I had always thought this way. Listen, I push Auntie Anita a lot because I think her content is really spot on. And there's maybe I'll put it on here. There's a recent post short that she did that I may clip that on here. But in any sense, the clip is talking about how, really, and this is Auntie Anita, this is a woman, this is not me, and she's a therapist, she does relationship stuff. And so she's talking about how women, really, in comparison to men, don't get that much out of sex. I don't know, I'm not a woman, I've never been a woman.
Guy, he's not showing the real investment, he's not showing the real intention, but when he does turn it on, you feel like the best thing in the world. Right. And obviously the only times he is turning it on is because he wants something from you. That is a very common cycle. So as a woman, how do you break that cycle?
At some point, I think the woman needs to mature. She needs to grow up and see that sex isn't love, sex isn't commitment. At some point, she has to want more for herself. Here's the weird thing, though. I'm a big believer, and I get a lot of pushback from men about this. I'm a big believer that women aren't really into sex like that. That we're really not into sex like that. I don't think it's necessarily sex. It's a dopamine high. There are some men that have the ability to talk a good game or look at us, touch us away, smile. I think it's like a dopamine high. In all honesty, they have this belief that women are getting as much pleasure from sex as men are, and we're not.
So I don't have anything to judge that on, but I do question, from my own thought process, I gotta think that that's fairly accurate, right? I mean, everything that I've ever known and read from the time I was 18 is that women need a connection. And how are you getting these connections with one night stands? And eventually, as I talked about on another podcast I was on, I think some of the episodes, no, I took them down. It was called, it was me and a friend of mine, we had a podcast. I had to start that up again. So we did a show, about, friends with benefits eventually leads to feelings. And I don't know how you could ever, I don't know how a woman ever separates that unless she's truly broken, right? Obviously, sex workers, can do it, but I'm sure that they're broken inside. If you look at the adult movie, industry, a lot of those ladies are on drugs, or they commit, they end themselves. So you can't, I don't know why a woman would try to partake in that type of behavior, but this is what's going on and all that. So this is what they're doing. This is what's going on. So to the woman out there who's looking for something more substantial, and you're looking around and seeing all this type of stuff, and you're saying, man, how come these people are getting attention? Maybe I need to compromise my values. I say don't do it, because it's not going to be worth it in the end. You're going to feel like trash. Now, another thing I want you to understand is that there is a difference, and this seems to be something that has to be repeated over and over and over again to get into the ether, to get into the psyche of particularly women. Men and women date differently. Men and women operate and move differently. Just like I talked about staying out of the friend zone for men, women have to stay out of the sex zone. What the heck is the sex zone? Just like a woman who will have a 12-to-5 guy who just breaks them off, whatever, and they'll never be around for anything else. Men put you in that same category. It is the equivalent of the friend zone. You would just have sex with me, and I'll never introduce you to my family, to my friends. You will never see never see us out in public. If I ever see you out in public, act like you don't know me. And and that's kind of the way that they operate. And a lot of these women who seem to be getting quote unquote wifed up, and a lot of these women who seem to be quote unquote getting wifed up are in relationships who are ratchet, who are ghetto, who have all these different accoutrements that people are telling you don't want. I would ask about the quality of men who are really wifing those type of people up. And I'm not talking about for a short time. Shannon Sharp, as I record this, just had a snafu. Shannon Sharp, the former NFL player and current podcaster, just had a snafu, which I don't think was a snafu, about his IG going live and love making going on in the background. I don't think that was a snafu. I think either she set him up or they did it together, or it just wasn't an accident. That's not my thoughts, but whatever. But is he willing to wipe that type of person up? Sleeping with someone, women have to understand that men will sleep with whatever, but who are they wiping up? And if you want to be wiped up, you have to hold your ground. And it seems unfair because nobody else has to hold their ground. Because you may be, you meet a guy and he's on his game, and he wants to do the three date rule, or the 6-week rule, the 3-month rule, the 90-day rule, or whatever. And you're not with that. Maybe you want to wait till marriage. Maybe you got a 6-month rule, or you got a commitment type of thing. And it's got to be going somewhere, because I don't want to just get my body out there because I'm risking emotional trauma, sexually transmitted diseases, pregnancy. I'm risking all this stuff to allow another person to enter my body, right? But you have to also be concerned, and I hear the complaint. You have to also be concerned about him exercising his options with other ladies. Even if he's still dating me, we still have something going on. If I'm not feeding his needs, is he getting them met someplace else? That's a tough situation to be in as a woman, particularly if you have these standards and morals. And it's difficult. I'm not going to pretend to try to give you the answer, but I know that if you give in, you're gonna feel bad after that. You're gonna feel bad after that. I had a conversation with a young lady one time. This is the dilemma of women who want to be in serious committed relationships. This is the dilemma. I had a conversation with a young lady one time, and she was telling me that she didn't do certain sexual acts unless they were in a committed relationship. So in other words, we can do the do, but I'm not going to do certain acts until I know that this is going somewhere and we're in something serious and committed. I mean, think about the mental gymnastics that one has to put themselves through to do that. And I'm not saying that in a demeaning type of way. I'm saying that this is the dilemma that ladies have when they want to stand by the morals and ethics. They also have needs. They also have, have an attraction level to this guy, to a man. But you want to make sure that you give him something, but not too much. So you got to ration out the sex. I'm gonna do this, but I won't do that. What a dilemma to be in. What a dilemma to be in, right? So that's why a lot of girls just say, listen, and listen, I would say, I would be at the camp. Sometimes I think, how would I operate if I was a woman? I would probably be at the camp that, listen, you can't have nothing. You can't have nothing until we have something that is long lasting, serious, right? So I know that this is something. Whether that's marriage or cohabitating, or even if it's, I guess verbally, this is what we're doing, it's you and me and whatever. But how do you make sure a guy sticks to that, That's why a lot of ladies want marriage. They want something contractual, right? They want, as Wendy Williams once said, they want papers on you. I'm not gonna say I can't completely understand that from that point of view, that you need some type of commitment, because I'm going to give you everything. You're going to give everything. So, so these are things you got to think about as a lady. And I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying that I have the answer. I'm telling you how to think and process the answer. And I can't, but again, I'll say it again. I can't see how giving into this man, or any man, is going to get you what you want in the end. Number one, ultimately in the end, because there's still no guarantee that he's going to be faithful, this, that, and the other, all that kind of stuff. So you might give himself to you. He might give himself to you, and he, ghosts you, not talk to you next day, or it's always a risk, number one. And number two, you'll probably feel terrible after. So these are all things you got to put on the balances, on the scales, and see, how they balance out. So these are things you got to think about, right? And this is the dilemma of modern day. You can think the modern day. You can think feminism. You can think the sexual revolution. You can think birth control, baby deletions. You can think all that, because that sexual deregulation of the market is what caused all this. And when other ladies are just giving it up, and they can just run to the CVS in the morning after a wild night, or they can go to a clinic a couple days later and get things taken care of, get things scraped out. When they got all kind of different potions and stuff to drink and take, and And there's no consequences, even STDs, right? The vast majority of diseases can be taken care of, right? I don't know. I'm not into all that. So what is there? 2 that can't be cured, right? And neither one of them today, with proper medication, really inhibit your life. So there's no consequence to it. So yeah, people are just gonna go out there and act a fool. I read somewhere like something like 60-70% of sexually active people have HPV, male and female. I think that was the number. I might be higher than that, 70, 80. I think it was between 60 and 80%. Think about that. It's wild. So listen, these are things you got to think about as a young lady. I would say don't give in. And the men don't want that. And I know that this is I've heard a lot of more ladies saying this, that men don't want what you think that they want. They'll sleep with it. They'll knock it down for a night. They might knock it down for a couple of months because she's so wild in the bed and everything and feeling so good. But he's never going to wipe a woman with these different color hairs and raptor nails and boss chick energy. Obviously you can find somebody getting wiped up, right? When we say these types of things, we're not saying that no man ever on the planet is ever going to want you. And there you may even find a woman. Or a guy who's quote unquote high value, whatever that means, and he's got some chick on his arm that you would deem unworthy. Like, where do you meet this chick at, right? So I'm sure it's possible, but it's certainly not probable. So you gotta operate that way. And I think that the last point is you gotta make yourself 43. Continue straight, 43. On my phone it blocks my central console. I can't see. So it is right here, 43. No, this is 39. What's this thing telling me to do? What you got to do is, no, I lost my train of thought. Oh, you got to put yourself in the right position, right? You got to be in a place where you can see, where you can be seen, I should say. I talked about, going to, it's football season now, going to where they go hang out at cigar bars or not clubs, but maybe a bar where they watch the game at the time of you want. Go there with a book, look cute. I say go there with a book because maybe you're not into it, right? Maybe you just want to sit there and just kind of enjoy it, sit down, talk, play with your phone, make sure it's charged up, or play some games in your phone or whatever. Bring a tablet to read or something, and just be cute and, make yourself available in that way. Find out where the guys that you like hang out at. Go to golf clubs or Top Golf, and all this stuff, right? Where you could be seen. 43. Yes. So where you can be seen, So that's what you got to do, and you got to hold to your standards. And if you meet a guy, listen, a guy's going to ask. I know I've had conversations in the comment section. Guys, it's a turn off when guys want to ask just for this, that, and the other. And you just got to let them know, listen, this is what it is. I don't get down like that. I'm looking for something more substantial. You can trust me that, once we get to that place, and once I get to that place with a man, it'll be, there'll be no holds barred, or however you want to say it. I will certainly make sure that he is happy and well fed and all that. So, just keep on along those lines. And I tend to look at things, I try to look at things not only through my own lens, but the lens of other people. And I'm hearing a lot more that these guys, younger guys, beneath 40 and lesser, I think that they're falling prey to the programming that has happened. And they're not looking for women who could cook clean. They really want somebody who's going to go pay the bills 50-50 and all this type of stuff. They're looking for something different. I can't identify with that. I can't identify with that, and that is not appealing to me. That is not appealing to me. I personally, at this stage of my life, I don't want, I mean, unless you're doing something non-strenuous, maybe, doing real estate or something like that. I don't want a woman who works 9 to 5. That's not appealing to me. That's the place that I'm at in my life. Not because I'm looking for so much freedom, right? If you got some kind of side business or whatever. My point is, I don't want you being stressed out all day. I don't want that. I'd rather pay the bills. I don't want to come home, and this is selfish for me. I don't want to come home and have to calm you down after your long day and somebody of the meetings you've been in, or somebody stealing your lunch at work, or some, you got office bullies and all this kind of stuff. I can't deal with that. I can't deal with it in my own life, and I don't want to deal with it listening to that from my woman. I don't. So, but that's me. But other people are like, yeah, okay, you got to do this, that, and the other. Okay, I mean, listen. You got to live the best life. You got to live your best life and do what's going to do for you. But these younger dudes. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying it's different from my perspective. And if that's what they want, if that's what they want, then go for it. I don't begrudge anybody from getting what it is that they want in life. Just doing you. So listen, I hope I said something. Hold your ground. The guys that are really worth it I think that they will certainly wait and appreciate that. It is a dilemma if you are not giving him what he wants sexually, and he's going to leave. And he's going to leave. He's going to, or he's not going to leave, but he's one of those dudes that just can't wait, right? He's got options. I mean, how willing are you to go or acquiesce to his options? How willing are you to, to overlook things or turn a blind eye and all that? These are dilemmas. I'm not going to pretend to give you any type of answer. But I do know that if you go against your standards, you will deeply regret it, because it may not work. And if you tell him X, Y, and Z, I don't give it out. I'm a good girl. I'm a Christian girl. If you give it to him, he's not going to respect that. He's not going to respect you. He's not going to respect you, or his respect for you will diminish. You might start at a 10, now you're at like a 7 because you said something and you didn't mean it. So those are my humble thoughts. And these young dudes, man, they're not looking for that. So cooking and cleaning and being a nurturing housewife is not appealing to them. Which confuses me, but everybody gets to live their life. So let me know your thoughts, your opinions, and what do you do? What would you do in those types of situations? Would you hold your ground? Would you just give in? Would you how would you go about doing all that? So I'll talk to you again. Much love and peace.